Hello, I'm Daryanka. It's Youth Choice, and this is School Days, where we ask the pros about their life in school and how it led them into a media career. On the show, we have former Heart presenter and now Premier League TV host. It's Becky Ives.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So, to kick things off, I'm going to ask you a few questions about your school days.
Okay.
Kind of a very generic question. In 3 words, how would you describe yourself in school?
Ooh, in school. Gosh, okay, how would I describe myself? So, hardworking, passionate, and I'm going to say a little bit edgy.
Why would you say edgy?
Because I didn't always conform, let's just say, to perhaps what I should have conformed to.
Okay.
No, I was just very passionate. I was very driven. And yeah, sometimes I didn't quite toe the line that I was meant to. Never did anything too horrendous, but yeah. So I'm going to say those 3 words.
All right. So what was your favourite subject and why?
PE was always one of my favourite subjects. I wasn't great at the anatomy and physiology, biology side of it, but I absolutely loved the physical side of it. Got me up out of the classroom. I'm not a 9-to-5 person. I don't like sitting behind a desk. So it got me out there, got me doing different things, different sports. Working as part of a team was always something that I loved. I loved that camaraderie and that team spirit. So yeah, PE was definitely my favourite.
What was like your favourite sport that you didn't like in lessons?
Netball.
Netball.
I was first team netball captain, I'll have you know. I know, thank you very much. So yeah, netball, we were lucky at my school, we had a swimming pool, so we sort of did a lot of swimming, which was great. We played alternative sports. Racket sports aren't my forte, but I did used to enjoy badminton with Mr. Frost every Tuesday. That I did like.
Shout out to Mr. Frost.
Yeah.
What was the biggest challenge you faced while you were at school?
School is such, I mean, looking back on it now, you don't realise it at the time, but school is such a complicated, exciting. You know, at 17 years old, then they're expecting you to know what you want to do for the rest of your life. Yeah. It's just a little bit like, you know, I'm 33 now, and now I've got to the job, the dream job that I wanted to get to. Yeah. So I think school is, don't get me wrong, it's a great place. You've got to educate yourself. It's great to pick up friends and you learn so much about who you are. But I think it's really challenging knowing the sort of the society dictates there is this pressure that you're supposed to know what you want to do at 18 years old, which I just don't think is the case. I think you've got to experience different things. Obviously, you have a clear goal of what you like and what you're into, and you've got an idea, but there is no set route into, particularly the creative industry, into where you want to go. Sometimes that doesn't mean that you go to university and follow the standard route that perhaps society dictates you should take. You've got to find your own way, do your own thing, because everybody's individual. Okay,
so what got you interested in media?
Okay, I was that kid at 11 years old that would watch Top of the Pops and then play the tape back and learn the dance routines. Like, that was me. There was always something that I was like, God, I really want to do that. Whether I was any good at it is a different story. But I loved it. And I was just sort of attracted to the sort of a different career path. It was out of the norm. It wasn't normal. With sport, I was obsessed with the live atmosphere. It was like I was addicted to that environment of something that wasn't the norm. It was out the normal. I was obsessed with watching sports people, how they performed, their mentality of what they've been through to get to that point to be the best. I was always obsessed with wanting to know how people did it, and the fact that there was no just set route into something. And my kind of motto, is that the right word? I don't even know if that's even a thing, was always, somebody's got to do it. Why can't it be me? That was always my thing from when I was about 8-9 years old. And I think my mum and dad at times were like, okay, with the crazy ideas that I had. But yeah, I always knew that a 9-to-5 office job, I respect people that can do that because it's just not a life for me, isn't that?
So, speaking of, you said that it's people that you watch sports, of course, and you're very fond of their mentality. Who do you look up to the most?
In terms of what,
Sports.
a specific person in sports?
Yeah.
It kind of, I was obsessed with David Beckham when I was growing up for various reasons. But sort of a sportsman, I would say David Beckham, because I just think, wow, what he's achieved and how he's managed to, his career, he was, you know, people ridiculed him a little bit back in the day because of the way he speaks, or, you know, just stupid, superficial things like that. But at the end of the day, look at what he's done. He is somebody that's so switched on. He's created, he knew football finished between the age of 30 and 35, and he's created an empire from it. He had that sight to be able to see where he needed to go. He knew what he was good at. He knew what he could do. And I think it's incredible that he's created an entire lifestyle and empire from being a footballer, sort of thing. So I think sportsman, definitely David Beckham. I look up to every woman that works in sport because I know what it's taken for them to get there, especially sometimes in more male-dominated sports. Gabby Logan, incredible broadcaster. Claire Balding, incredible broadcaster. You've got sort of new people coming through, people like Laura Woods who present a lot of football. But yeah, any woman that gets themselves into a position within a male world, for me, I'm like, fair play to you. And then Holly Willoughby, because I really like her style. Like, there's random people that I'm like, oh, I really like Holly Willoughby. She doesn't do sports, but she's got great style. Frankie Bridge from the Saturdays, somebody else that I'm just like, oh God, really like her style. So you know, people crop up all the time, but yeah, I have massive respect for anybody that works in the creative industry. I think fair play to you. It's a tough old game out there.
Yeah, so I want to talk to you about your new exciting job at the Premier League.
Yes.
What would you say the transition was like from radio to TV?
Terrifying. No, do you know what? It was made a lot easier because of radio. I got this live broadcast experience, which is invaluable. Every day for 4.5 years we did live. We couldn't retake. You have to watch what you say. You can't swear. Like, and it's kind of crazy. As soon as someone says you can't, you kind of feel like that's all you want to do, and it's really weird. So making the transition into TV was made easier by the radio, even though they are slightly different skills, because radio, you're not, radio's changing because they now have cameras in the studio and stuff, but effectively you're not really in front of a camera. You don't think about it, whereas when you're doing football presenting in TV, you are in front of a camera and you know that you're on screen. But yeah, the live experience was great. The fundamentals are still the same though. Whether you're working in radio or TV, you're just telling a fan, a friend, about what's happening.
Yeah.
You know, whether that be a story on radio that's relatable about, oh my gosh, has this ever happened to you? Yesterday I did this. And somebody's listening to that in the car and they're thinking, oh yeah, I do that all the time. Or whether you're on the TV and I'm telling you, I'm telling you what's happened last night in the Europa League for Arsenal. I'm just telling you personally. You don't really think about the wider audience. So effectively, I just try and keep it really, really simple. I don't try and think about that there's currently a gallery with probably, I don't know, 30 people in there and there's lights and sound. Just concentrate on yourself, and I just literally think of myself as one fan telling another fan about the sport that we both love. And it's the same with radio. I'm telling you about a tune that I think you're going to love because it's awesome. And then they can make up their own mind whether they like it or not, you know, but music passion, big thing at Global.
So, as you said, I know you're a lover of sports.
Yes.
But I want to know, what was your favourite sport as a child, like playing?
Okay, so I was a swimmer and a highboard diver. And I did both of those sports alongside each other. I literally spent every night in a swimming pool after school, Monday to Friday. I was a swimmer and a diver to a county and national standard. So I did represent, Yorkshire was the county where I was from, and then I was in the Great Britain Diving Federation as well. So those are two of my sports. I say I love netball. Those were the main ones that I played, but football was also like the passion that I went to every game with my dad. I'd sit and watch Match of the Day even though I've been at the game in the day. You know, like football fans, that's what we do,
Yeah.
isn't it? We watch the game, then we watch the highlights, and then we watch the next highlight show. So yeah, I'd say those are my favourite sports growing up, and I just loved team stuff that I could get involved with. I've never been very good at being on my own. I'm much more of a team player.
Okay, so you said you were from Yorkshire.
Yes.
Was that like a challenge to try and get into the media industry?
Yeah, so I knew nobody that did what I did. I'm from a very small village up in Yorkshire. Leeds is the nearest city that we had. And yeah, I grew up in an environment that was very sporty, but wasn't media sports. It was just people played sports.
Yeah.
So yeah, it seemed like an entire world away. I didn't know anybody. I don't have a dad that plays sports that's famous. I don't have an auntie that works as a director somewhere. I literally had to start from scratch and I didn't know how I was going to do it. I think that's the most, like, I had no idea. I just knew that I wanted to do it. And I think if you've just got that in you, you'll make it happen. You'll find a way somehow. And I got down to London by doing musical theatre. I mean, where did that even come from, you know? Like, it just kind of happened that way. And then when I was in London, in the location, that's when you start seeking out, okay, now I'm here, now what do I do? What's the next step? But now I didn't know anybody. There's a big old world out there that I was just going to dive into and hope for the best.
Okay, so thank you very much for talking to me.
Not at all, thank you.
This has been the School Day Show and on Youth Choice.